Kia ora tātou katoa te roa mata tia tui te ara au. Ko Taputukura tōku ingoa, no Maoke e Pāmati mai au. E no ana au ki Raumati Beach, e anga ana au ki Pōneke I te roto I te National Library. Thank you everybody for joining in on my presentation today. Today I'll be sharing about a project that we've been working on for just about 2 years called the Pacific Virtual Museum Pilot Project. And from this project we've developed a really cool website called digitalpacific.org, and I'll be giving you some insight on how this Pacific resource can be of use for you and your audience, and how you can access more Pacific resources. So I'll quickly share my screen if I can and share my presentation. Cool. So this is the background of our website. Yeah, so looking very blue and very pretty. So I'm just going to introduce you to my team. So behind the website is a pretty small team ranging from across the Pacific. Here we've got our program manager, Tim Kong, who is of Fijian and Chinese descent. In Pākehā, his father is from the island of Kindavu in Nalotu, and his role is to look after myself and Ulu and do program manager stuff. Myself, I'm of Cook Island descent. My mum is from the island of Palmerston and my dad is from the island of Moke. So my role as the engagement manager is to reach out to museums, galleries, archives, libraries, and that hold our Pacific content and invite them to share them on our website. And from when they're on our website is to connect these to our Pacific communities. So my role is also to create dialogue between the communities that have the knowledge and also the institutions that hold the items. And then we have Uluwaka Ese, who is of Samoan descent, hailing from the villages of Whalialii and Matautu and Sangone, and he is our content analyst. So his role is to harvest all the data from new content partners that I've contacted and get their items and their collections visible on our website. And so these images to the right here are from the Digital Pacific website, and these are images of the places that we call home. So up here is an image of Palmerston Island, where my mum's from, and also Moke, from where my dad is from. So Pacific heritage and collection items are located all around the world in various institutions. Many of them might not be accessible for Pacific people in their communities, and it's really hard for them to access them. With these institutions only displaying a fraction of the items that they hold on display, and many of these are held behind closed doors in garages and warehouses in their collections. The institutions that look after them may not also know much information about them and may be described incorrectly. So the aim of this project was to make visible and accessible Pacific collections for Pacific people and for people of the Pacific. Making these items visible and accessible has the opportunity for Pacific people to reconnect with them. Early on in the project, we had a director of the Cook Islands Museum come and meet us here in Wellington. We talked about the idea of repatriating all the Cook Island collections and museums held in overseas. She just said no, because they currently don't have the resources to look after them. If they came back, they'll just go poof, and they won't be able to hold on to these items for future generations. She suggests, like she said, was just to have visible and accessible to these items, to see them for their future generations so that they can talk about them, which was on the same kind of vision that we had. So that was awesome. There's a quote from Peter Alofi, who is one of our champions of the project. It's one thing for Pacific people to know their culture has been taken, but it's another entirely to know that their culture doesn't exist and they're not aware of it. with all these collections held overseas, making them visible so that our Pacific people can reconnect to them. So how did this project come about? The Department of Foreign Affairs in Australia put out a contestable fund in which the National Library of New Zealand and the National Library of Australia was awarded. It was to create a resource where Pacific collections could be visible and accessible. So we won this grant on a few things by using the technology of Supplejack, which is an aggregator used by Digital NZ, and also creating this resource with a co-design team with members represented from the Pacific and beyond. In mid-March 2020, we had organised around 20 representatives from the Pacific, Australia, and the US to come to a workshop to give us an idea of how this project would be run. Like we all know, in mid-March 2020, New Zealand went into lockdown because of COVID. So this engagement workshop was cancelled, and we had to move the way that we were working all by Zoom. We had to totally shift how we were working and how we were going to engage with this resource. We formed a co-design group and also worked with our vendor Boost, totally remote from our homes. We met with our co-design group that was from around the Pacific, Australia and New Zealand twice a week, where we could show them and the design of the website and get their feedback instantly. We made sure that we worked in an agile way so that any feedback from our co-design members could be implemented within weeks. I think the biggest learning from this experience was building the trust and showing our co-design team that we were committed to creating resources for the people of the Pacific and of the Pacific. From that trust, we were able to build really strong relationships, so that we were very thankful for our co-design team for giving up their time and sharing their knowledge with us so that we could create this amazing resource. We've had some really, truly champions of this project, and we want to acknowledge all of our co-design team that gave up their time and their knowledge to make this resource a successful one. So yeah, this is some of our co-design team that would meet with us twice a week. Christella comes all the way from California, San Diego, so she tunes at 7 p.m. every week. So what we wanted to create was a website that all Pacific collections could be found all in one place, and we wouldn't have to go to several websites to find it. One of the first things that we made sure it works for the Pacific people. It was created for low bandwidth networks, so we suggested this to our vendor booths. They were up for the challenge, as they're usually trying to create things for high speed networks and internet. So we didn't want to have all the bells and whistles with this website. It had to work on 2G and 3G networks. First, as internet is really expensive in the islands, so it was designed for mobile first, and the loading time in the design looks great on mobile, and it won't use up all your data. We also wanted to uplift and highlight some of the amazing work that our Pacific creators, and to make sure that there was a platform for them that they could be on the same platform as our bigger institutions like Te Papa and Auckland Museum and Auckland Libraries, and make sure that their content was visible and accessible by everybody. Many of our Pacific content creators are creating some amazing resources and using platforms like YouTube. We've found it really easy for our Pacific creators to be involved in the project because they own their content and their content is on YouTube. It's really easy for us to harvest their content and to get it signed off. Some of the challenges with getting our larger institutions in the Pacific is the amount of sign-offs that they need to get through to be part of the project. which we're still working on. And so who is this for? This website is for everyone, people of the Pacific and of the Pacific, content partners that want to share their resources, researchers, teachers, and school students. So how is the website being used? So I'm just going to share a few of the examples. It has become a mirror for some of our institutions. Early on in the project, we had approached Papua New Guinea National Art Gallery. They said they didn't have any content that was digitized or a website where their content was, so they couldn't be part of the project. But searching through some of our content partners that had signed up, they had actually done projects with some of the universities in Australia. And so the universities were able to change who the content partner or the content partner was to them, and so that they could be acknowledged for the work that they did with the project. So we were really happy to have Papua New Guinea National Art Gallery, to be part of our Digital Pacific website. Another thing is with Trove, so they're a mega aggregator in Australia. So when we were first designing the website, we wanted to have Torres Strait Island as part of the locations in the website, and they came back to us that they didn't actually have Torres Strait Island as a location feature in their metadata, and so that they were still under Queensland. So they had done heaps of work to actually change all of the Torres Strait Island content and then put a new tag or a new label on as Torres Strait Island so that they could be searchable on their website. In education, so one of our first content partners was Pacifica Renaissance, and so their content is of people in Micronesia sharing their own stories on their own land, in their own homes, in their own language. Early on in the project, when we first launched, we had a few Hawaiian teachers approach us about how they're using their content to relate and connect with their students, their Micronesian students, and whether we could do translation. But unfortunately, we don't have any budget for translation, but it was a cool way that they could connect with their students. For businesses, we had a wedding planner approach us in Auckland. She was using our website as a way to create a resource around Pacific love stories and how, when marrying into a Pacific culture, what is necessary, what you might need to know if you're not from that culture. So yeah, she's developing this resource from our website, which will be really good for those wanting to know more about the Pacific culture and things that you need to know. Connecting families. So this is actually my example. When I was first showing my parents about the website, I was flicking through some of the images that was tagged the Cook Islands, and then my dad actually recognized this lady in the pink here, who is his auntie. So he was telling me about the story when they went back to Mokia in the 1989. He took all of my sisters and they actually stayed at her house. And he was talking about the caves and all of his memories when he was growing up on the island. And the second example is, I think it's a collection from, oral collection from Auckland Libraries. My mum recognised her cousin Ere Masters. So it was an oral audio, so mum got to listen to it and hear about her cousin and her life coming to New Zealand. My mum didn't get to know what happened when she came to Auckland, and so it was really cool. My mum got to reconnect with her cousin and her life when she got to Auckland. Yeah, so those are some of the examples about how we're trying to get our website out to our communities as well. Cool. Some of the events that we've tried to do to promote the website and also the awesome collections from the Alexander Turnbull Library. I think this event was probably one of my highlights of this whole project, was being able to connect my community to the amazing collections at the Alexander Turnbull Library. So for the Cook Island Language Week last year, we held an event at the Alexander Turnbull Library here in Wellington to celebrate the Cook Island Language Week. So we had about 50 people register for the event and 50 people turned out, which was awesome. And it was really cool to see the different generations coming to see what ATL had in their collections so that they can reconnect to some of their ancestors. Yeah, so we had to keep numbers pretty small because of restrictions, but it was an amazing event. And it was also a great opportunity for the ATL staff to learn more about the collections that they held and hear more about the personal stories that was attached to them. Everyone that attended the event could find reconnections to their ancestors and their family members. And it was also done in a Pacific way, making sure that we had some kai afterwards, and that's where the real stories come out. So one of the examples that who registered, there was a lady who brought along with her 3 aunties and also her mum. So they were the granddaughters of Andy Thompson, who was the captain of the schooner in the Cook Islands. So we showed them the Digital Pacific website and searched his name and found stories of him and images that they had never seen before that were in Trove. And so they contacted me the day after, and that they wanted to donate some of their personal collections to the item and share some of the memories they had of their great-grandfather or their grandfather. So another project that we're doing with the Cook Islands community here is creating 10 videos to represent the 10 distinct languages of the Cook Islands. To represent the different cultures of the different islands in the Cook Islands. So we've teamed up with Oriana TV, where they'll be filming the elders from these different islands, where they'll be sharing some of the traditional stories that make their island distinct. And what's really awesome about this is that the community will be using traditional knowledge labels so that the community can determine how the videos will be used, and the rights will always stay with them. So these videos will be filmed on May the 21st and May the 28th, and then they'll be going up on Oriana TV, in which Oriana TV is a content partner, so then they'll be eventually going into Digital Pacific. But this is the first example where traditional knowledge labels will be used and beat into Digital Pacific. And so for those that couldn't attend the in-person event, we also did a Facebook Live and a Zoom webinar so that the people inside in the Cook Islands could also experience the same collections that were shown. So yeah, this was a very lo-fi, so this is Ulu and me. Ulu's just holding his phone and showing the collections, but this is sometimes the only way that during COVID that people could actually see what we've got in our collections. And so from the Cook Islands collections up close, we went on a roll, and so we wanted to do the same thing for each of the Pacific language weeks. Because of our target audiences, people in the Pacific and of the Pacific, we've been able to create some online events to celebrate these Pacific languages. And so most of our Pacific people in the Pacific are using Facebook, so we wanted to make sure that it was accessible to them. And so all of these events were held on Facebook Live. And we've been really honoured to have some of the guests on our show or our webinar. So one of the really cool ones was Tuvalu National Library and Archive. They currently don't have an online website, so all of their collections you have to go in to see. So they were able to show a little tour about their collections and share more about it. And what was really cool is that we had one of the elders come in and share his knowledge as well, which was Mr. Siosi Funiki. And he is also the oldest on the island. So he was able to share the changes of Tuvalu. So it was very honouring to have them share some of their knowledge and their culture with us. Another one is Lolongo Nui. So this was with Patrick and Sheila. So they're based in Auckland as well. And so what they're doing to share the Niuean culture and the language is they've uploaded some of their traditional songs on YouTube, but also put Niuean subtitles underneath. So just a different way to learn more about the language, but also learn about some really important Niuean songs. Another one we did with the Tongan Language Week was we had Mrs. Kulawula Murphy. So we showed some of the digital Tongan collections on our website, and she shared some amazing knowledge that she knew on items. So yeah, so it's an opportunity to show some of our elders about all the knowledge that they hold, but also highlight some of the content partners. Another one for Tokelau Language Week, we teamed up with Archives New Zealand with Chrissy Knight. She was able to show some of the Tokelauan collections that haven't yet been digitised, but hoping that they can be. What was really cool was that after the session, we had people come back to us to say, hey, that was my uncle in the photo, hey, this is. So yeah, it's just highlighting some of the cool items and collections that our content partners hold and getting it out to the people so they can share their knowledge on it. And next week, if you're free, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we'll be doing a webinar with the Solomon Islands National Museum. So they will be showing some of their collections and their knowledge on those collections as well. So that's tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So how can this be useful for you? So with institutions, community groups, universities, we're able to highlight and harvest all of these from YouTube. So all of this, we're a bit different as we're non-traditional, so we can get, so like Pacific Renaissance, that's not typically items that our libraries or museums might collect, but we want to show that our content is about the people and for the people. So we're also open to feedback. So we have ongoing maintenance and sprints. So if you've got any ideas or any feedback on our website and how we can improve it, we're always open to changes. And we also have a wide range of collections from photographs, podcasts, videos, objects, and we also have user contributions, which I'll talk about very soon. Okay, I haven't done this before, but hopefully it works. So I'm going to see if you guys are listening to me, and what I'm going to do is see if you guys can contribute to this activity too. So what I'm going to do is share some of the collections that are held on Digital Pacific and that we harvest from our various content partners. So what we're going to do for this activity is we're going to try and guess what the information attached to the item is. Hopefully this works, okay? So I'm going to show you some pictures and you're going to try and guess who the nationality of the person, where they might be, the time frame that the image was taken, and then we're going to see if we're correct with what our institutions have said. Okay, so first picture. So if you have any guesses, write it in the chat and see if you know any information about it. So I'm just going to try and guess what it is. I think he might be Samoan. He's holding a club like saw-like teeth. He's possibly in his late to 20 to 30s. He's wearing a necklace and he has short curly hair. So I'm going to give you like a few seconds to put in your answers and then I'm going to show what it is. Hopefully this works out. So you might, yeah, if you're an expert on images like this, let's see what our content partner has said. Okay, I'm going to show it now. 3, 2, 1. So the description that Te Papa has written, so the title is Man. It has maker unknown, purchased in 2020, and it has the dimensions of the photograph, and the date was 1870s to 1880s. So, did you guys get that right? I can't actually see the comments. Okay, we're going to go into the next one. Okay, so this one looks a bit harder. I can't like establish which Pacific island she might be from. She might be in her late teens and mid-20s, wearing a white dress. Not sure when the photo was taken, probably like the same era as the last one. And yeah, so if you could write in what you think. Ooh, not yet. Some good guesses coming in. Okay, so I'm going to give 3, 2, 1. I'm going to show what Te Papa has written about it. Oops. Oh, girl from Tokelau. Oh, it has a date range, 1871 to 1886, by Francis Herbert and from Te Papa, and it has the dimensions. But what's missing is her name. Oh, White Sunday, good guess. Okay, next one. Okay, this one might be easy by her costume. This image looks like it was taken maybe like 1980s, possibly. She looks like she's Cook Island and she's dancing. Anyone else? Yeah, Joan. 19's Cook Island or Tahitian, nice. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to, oh yeah, Anna, you're right. 3, 2, 1. I will put, oh, Pacific Island dancer, Auckland, 1973. We're kind of close. Description, a dancer performing a traditional Cook Island Māori ura dance at the Polynesian Cultural Centre in Auckland. Date 1973. Yes, Lynn, it is from the Auckland Libraries collection. Collections from Basil Williams collection. Item source, Auckland Libraries. Well done, everybody. Okay, next one. Okay, she looks like Tongan, maybe? Looks like she's in, yeah, oh, nice one, Rhea. She looks like she's in front of a whale. Oh, we've got some Tuvalu, Tonga, nice. Oh, near Te Papa collection Samoa. Oh, okay. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to show the answer. Oh, a Tongan Belle. So this one is also from Te Papa, 29th of July, 1884, New Zealand by the Burden Brothers. Purchased by Te Papa. The date was 29th of July, 1884. Yeah, nice. People got some really good answers in there. There were many Tokelau lines. Oh, nice. Thanks, Christine. I think so. This one, I think they're Polynesian, maybe at a festival. Not sure what festival it might be. Taken in the islands. Or Auckland. It might be in Auckland, yeah. Okay, any more guesses? 90, nice. That might be a good time frame. Auckland Festival. Oh, okay. Tuvalu. Okay, let's go with the answer. 3, 2, 1. Women's Day, Alofi, Mansi and Nui. So Women's Day, Alofi and Mansi, sorry for my pronunciation, in 1996. So these were taken by Glenn Jowett, and it was a gift to Glenn Jowett Estate in 2015 to Te Papa, 1996. Guys, guesses are very good. I think we've got one more of this activity. Oh, whoops. Already put. Okay, so this one is of an Achuan leader. But if you're Cook Island, you know that this is possibly spelt wrong. So it should be Rungumatane, not Rungumatani. And so this image is from the Digital Public Library of America. So very beautiful picture of him. Okay, next. So hopefully you guys got some, you guys actually know quite a lot of the information without actually knowing it. So yeah, this is going to be moving on to our next thing I'm talking about is user contributions. So hopefully the activities show that these institutions might not always know about the collections that they hold, and that you actually have quite a lot of knowledge from just seeing it as well. So last year, about a year ago now, we launched a feature called User Contributions, and now had made these collections visible and accessible. So this also gives an opportunity for our visitors to share their contributions and share their storage or share their connections with the items that we show. So you don't have to be an expert to share your own experience, relationship to the items, because it's your story to be told. And so this feature, we don't do any moderation. Once you post it, it's live. You can share however you like. It can be in your own language, and these stories are for people that, so if you're sharing it in your own language, it's for the people that can speak that language. So we're not going to be trying to translate it for an English audience. If there is any contributions that are inappropriate, we've also got a report button underneath. So that will give us an alert, and then we'll work on trying to solve or see why you've alerted us to be inappropriate. So some of the examples that's already shared on our website is this one here. So this one is, as you can see, is written in Fijian. So what they've shared is from a video of a family in Fiji working in the plantation and singing. And so what they've shared in Fijian is similar experiences and bringing back memories about how when they were back in the village, they would also be doing the same thing, working together in the plantation, helping each other out as a community. And then afterwards, they would go and play rugby. So the next one is of someone who shared memories of the Awaroa Church, saying that they sat in the same spot where the photo was taken, and it brings back memories about when they first went to Rarotonga for the first time. And sharing about how her mother said that outside of the church was her grandmother's grave, which she had never known about. And then the next one here is of a maunga in Fiji, sharing some of how beautiful the picture is and how it connects him to his father, where he's from. Yeah. And so user contributions can also alert us about some of the information that might not be right or correct. So when I saw the Rongomatane written incorrectly, so I had contacted the content partner that it belongs to, and they were able to update it instantly. And now it's Rongomatane, a leader of Achu. So another one is from Richard Moyle, so saying that the caption is incorrect. That's not actually the person that is in the photo, and he shares about more about the person that they're actually talking about. And your contribution could be as simple as naming what's in the picture. So from this metadata from Te Papa, it just has Rarotonga as the title, but it doesn't actually show what's in the picture. And so someone has shared this is the Takamua Theological College in Rarotonga. So yeah, contributions can be anything that you want. And sharing content. So some of you might be interested in becoming a content partner. If you're creating content and it's publicly available online, we want to get to know you. We want to get your content onto our website as well. So on our website, there's some ways to become a content partner, and it's pretty easy to sign up. You just need to contact us and we'll have a meeting with you to try and set up how your content can be shown. Or if you've got your items aren't online, but you've got heaps of cool PASIFIK content that you want to donate, Auckland Libraries have a cool manuscript and a donor guide. So it will go through all the things that you need to know before you donate and where you can donate. And same thing with the National Library of New Zealand as well. So you can get in contact with them or get in contact with us as well, and we can direct you to the right people. So like what we did before with that activity, you want to make sure when you're donating items, you want to have as much information attached to it as well. So always name who's in the photo, context of why the photo was taken, where and when the photo was taken, the location, how you acquired the item, how the item was used, and contact person with email or number. Because our libraries and our museums only have the information that was given to them. So if they don't have the information, they can't attach to it. So if you're thinking about donating items, please make sure you have all the information that you know attached to it, and so that it can be discoverable and those stories and memories can be lived on in these items. So yeah, check out our website. It's digitalpacific.org. Because we have about a few more minutes, I might just quickly demo the website so you know how to use it when you get to it. Okay. So this is our website here. Wait, hang on. Stop. I will just click out of stop share and share the website. Cool, so this is our website here if everyone can see it. So it's digitalpacific, PASIFIK.org, and this will take you to our homepage here. So we change the Pacific reading every week, and so this week, because we've got our webinar with Solomon Islands, I've chosen a pidgin language, and so you can search for items in the search box here. The coolest part about our website is at this part here, so you can see the outlines of the different Pacific nations that we have on the website. And if you click on it, so for Fiji, it will take you to the Fiji page, which has a greeting in their language, but you will find everything that is tagged Fiji in there. And it also has what kind of item it is, the video, and the content partner it comes from. And you can also filter through here. And if we go back, you can also explore by media, image, object, video, audio, text, and map, and also discover by content partners. We've got heaps of content partners at the moment, which will slowly load. So they're discoverable here. And so if you click on one of our content partners, let's go Connect TV. they have their own web page. So here's the name of them, a short description of the organisation, and also the location of where they're based. And you can find all of their content on this page. And also, so when we were creating the website, we made sure that we did user testing in the Pacific, and making sure that the website would load. So from their feedback, we were able to develop a simple website that would be easy to use in the Pacific. Yeah, and so these are some of the collections from Solomon's, and also the user contributions. So if we go user contributions, you can see all the contributions that have been shared on our website. And then we also have some of our blogs as well. So we've been very fortunate to have people share some of their some of the blogs on our website. Some from Uluwafese, Tim, Lulu here. And so most of these blogs were around our Pacific Language Weeks and their experience with learning or being involved with that language week. Cool. So that's our website. If we want more people contributing on our user contribution feature, so yeah, get online, get on and have a search of heaps of the items on our website.